What's up YouTube? Galaxy Tech Dark Lord here, back again with a new deck profile. It's Battlin Boxers. 3 Battlin Boxer Glassjaw. He's the 2000 beta. Targeted for attack, he's destroyed immediately. Then he triggers his own effect when he's destroyed. You get a Battlin Boxer back from the graveyard to your hand. It's helpful to rescue the Xyz monster known as Battlin Boxer, the lead yoke. Right. Battlin Boxer switch hitter gets, when you summon, you get a Battlin Boxer back from the graveyard. Can go into lead yoke very easily with this card. Headgeared. He's very useful when you summon him because he sends a Battlin Boxer to the graveyard. So you could send something like Counterpunch, which comes in useful later on. Sparer can come onto the field in a special summon when you have a Battlin Boxer monster already on the field, and in return for your battle phase. 2 Counterpunch. You can banish him from your hand or graveyard to give a Battlin Boxer monster you control 1000 more attack. Pretty standard. 2 Effect Veiler. You never know what your opponent might have in terms of monster effects, so you can use this to negate it. 2 Blaster Dragon Ruler of Infernos. He's very useful because all this deck's main attribute is fire type. You can use him with Effect Veiler to go into Stardust Dragon or Crimson Blader. And finally, for the monsters, 2 Mech Lord Emperor Grenell. You may say no, but I've found him useful in using him with Battlin Boxer Glassjaw's effect because he's destroyed by a card effect, so that can trigger his own effect. Right, spells. Foolish Burial. You can send Counterpunch to the graveyard or a Battlin Boxer of your choice if you get Switch Hitter in your first turn. 3 MSTs. Basic stuff. It gets rid of everything what you need. 3 Magnum Shield. All of this deck's main attribute is Warrior type. Why not run it? You use it with lead yoke and it gets you 2000 more attack onto him to make 4400. Rotor and Warrior Returning Alive. It's a warrior deck. These 2 are staple cards in a warrior deck. Gold Sarcophagus. You can use it with Blaster. You can use it with any of them. Gets a card to your hand. And lastly, I'm a big fan of the anime, so I like to see I like using cards that they actually use. I don't have Rank Up Magic Baron's Force, but I do have the limited version, and that's good enough for now. Onto the traps. With Monster Reborn gone, it's useful to use 2 Call of the Haunted, and then in addition to that, 2-Dimensional Prison, 2 Mirror Force, 2 Trap Stun, and 1 Bottomless Trap Hole. It's that simple. They're very easy cards to come across, and they get the job done the way they do. Now, the extra deck, from what I've managed to accumulate here, I've got Lead Yoke. I've only got 1. I can't get another until I go to a tournament to find trades. Lavalval Chain. He's useful in almost any deck. Utopia and Utopia Ray. You never know how useful these 2 can be. Utopia Ray Victory. If you want to use Rank Up Magic with that, then it's fine. He's useful. He stops your opponent's spells and traps when he attacks as well. Battlin Boxer Star Cestus and his evolution, Comet Cestus. One-Eyed Skill Gainer. This deck, it's useful for this deck because this deck isn't one of those decks like Mermails that have so much technique to it. It's just a beating deck. So here, this card can use that against them if you get it out by any chance. Happy Operative, you never know. You might want to use it. I've never used it in this deck. Steel Swarm Roach, block your opponent's special summons of level 5 or higher monsters. And finally, Stardust Dragon and Crimson Blader. I've used Crimson Blader more than Stardust Dragon, but they're both equally useful as one another. Now the side deck, I haven't had many ideas for the side deck because I never tend to think about side deck, but I've thought Dimensional Fissure. The guy I went against in a tournament who had this, he used this with Battlin Boxers, and I found it impossible to beat him because he managed to go straight into lead yoke, and when I managed to destroy it eventually, all the monsters that he had used for it were actually just in the graveyard because they were Xyz materials. And finally, my one breakthrough skill, I don't have another, but there it is. Well, that's all for this deck profile. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I may or may not submit another deck profile like I did with the Infernities. Thank you for watching.